Welcome to our presentation of how is student engagement data used for faculty development, findings from 7 U.S. universities. I'm Billy Osteen at the College of Education, University of Canterbury in Christchurch, New Zealand.
And I'm Lane Perry at the College of Education, University of Canterbury, and I'm a PhD student here. I'd like to take a couple of seconds just to say thank you to iSOTL and for those of you who are choosing to watch this video for letting us provide and present this from across the world, because we're currently in New Zealand, as Billy said, and you are most likely in the UK, which are two very far points geographically speaking. So it's very cool that we can use YouTube and get on the same page here. So let's begin.
All right. So here's the journey we're going to take today. First, we're going to do a background of student engagement and the National Survey of Student Engagement. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about a study that I conducted at 7 U.S. universities and describe data collection methods, some of the findings from the data, present a model of how institutions use the data, a spectrum, and then Lane's going to share a practical example of how he used the National Survey of Student Engagement data at a university where he worked, and then we'll provide some conclusions and implications.
Excellent. Well, I will begin speaking about the National Survey for Student Engagement. Like Billy said, it's used in the United States and on student engagement, because the National Survey for Student Engagement, which is referred to as the NSSE, actually seeks to measure student engagement. So first, I'd like to give you a small definition of what student engagement is. It's students' involvement in conditions and practices that are likely to generate high-quality learning. So this is fundamentally based on three theories or areas of research, and we'll briefly address those here. Student involvement theory by Aston in 1984 sought to refer to the amount of physical and psychological energy that students invest and devote into their academic experience, which means students who are engaged are also those who are involved. 2 points that have to be understood here is this idea that students are responsible for doing, but universities are also responsible for making. The easiest way for me to describe this and to understand it is to look at the word for to do, or do, in Latin, which is facere. Now then, facere actually translates to do or to make. It's the way the verb is used. So when you look at it through that context, you think about what George Q said when he said, more importantly than where a student goes to university or where they come from and what it is they're studying is what they do while they're at that university. So you have the things that students do that's important, but then the university can create conditions where those students are more likely to do. So in this, you have students doing things that universities create opportunities for. And that's student involvement theory, essentially tied back to George Q, who was the creator of the NSSE. Now then, you have also student departure theory from Tinto, which focuses on retention. And he stated that student involvement and student retention are one and the same. So if you can get students involved in what they're learning, then they're more likely to be retained, and that's good for universities and good for students and society alike. And then finally, the 7 good practices from Chickering and Gameson, which seek to identify good practices for undergraduate education. And those are student-faculty contact, cooperation among students, active learning opportunities, feedback, emphasizing time on task, emphasizing high expectations to the students that you're teaching, and finally, respecting diverse talents and ways of learning. So if you can do these things and create these opportunities for students in an environment where they're more likely to be available, students are likely to learn in those experiences. And that's kind of the point of student engagement. So student engagement is the umbrella that all of these ideas fall under, to where if a student can actually access these opportunities in an environment conducive to them, then they're probably going to learn. That's the idea. So since 1999, the NSSE's been used at over 1,400 universities by over 2.5 million students. It's got a lot of weight underneath it in regards to the amount of people that have used it and universities who are using the data. And then subsequently, AUSSE was developed in 2007, which is for Australasia, Survey of Student Engagement, and then SASE in 2008, which is South Africa Survey for Student Engagement. So it's becoming quite a global phenomenon. So based on that, all of this being said, students who are engaged are more likely to be emphasizing time and effort during their studies, interacting with faculty and staff members, experiencing diversity and diverse opportunities with diverse people who are different from them, have more frequent feedback opportunities from their instructors, and also have more opportunities for reflective and integrative learning. So all that being said, that's kind of the background of the National Survey for Student Engagement and student engagement within itself. And Billy went on a journey, on an adventure to learn more about what universities are actually doing with this data.